probably never been done for him in his life. He's never been that viral at all, ever.
Jimmy popping all that bullshit. I be seeing you, Jimmy, talking about we Gucci boo boo. He in the Gucci store. Talking about we Gucci boo boo. The Black King was going, they was going, fuck. Jimmy like, Marita Moneda.
Sounds like he want to do one with 50 Cent. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like Jim.
Nah, I don't want to do nothing with that sucker. You heard? Leave him out of the conversation. If I told you I was in the Roc Nation office, how would you feel about that? Huh? You think I was lying? That's clear enough for you?
Jones, who is Jim Jones? Like, he's not on anyone's top 10 list. He's like no one's top 10 list, maybe not even his family.
Jay did the remix. It was the biggest alley-oop he could do for me. I understood a lot about music, and at that time, people were looking at the wrong way, and I was...
50 Cent just came at Jim Jones with full force, no mercy. Straight up exposed him after Jim tried to come sideways at Nas. And to make things even messier, 50 dropped some rare footage of Jim totally flipping on Jay-Z, from calling Jay soft to literally begging for a Roc Nation deal. No joke.
I told you I was in the Roc Nation office, how would you feel about that? Huh? You think I was lying? That's clear enough for you?
Everyone knows 50 has never been tight with Jim or Jay, but he's always shown deep respect for Nas. So, when Jim started running his mouth, claiming he's better than Nas and saying he made Nas go viral again, 50 wasn't having it. At all. What I did for Nas has never been done for him before, Jim claimed. He was never that viral, ever. But what 50 just revealed. This isn't just about Jim trash-talking Nas. It's about Jim's long, messy track record of switching sides and shady behavior. 4 years, Jim has been flipping scripts. 1 minute throwing shade, next minute crawling back when he's broke or desperate. Especially with Jay-Z. Man, it's been wild. Jim spent more than a decade taking shots at Jay. He even slapped one of Jay's executives. Insane, right? But when the money ran out and he needed a lifeline, he ran straight back to Jay, completely changed his vibe, called Jay a hero, and literally begged for a Roc Nation deal. Total 180. Now 50 is using this moment to put Jim's two-faced history on full display. We're talking about a guy with no loyalty, no spine, and no real love for the culture he claims to represent. But yo, this is just the beginning. Jim's disrespect for Nas backfired hard because it gave 50, and everyone else, a reason to dig up receipts and air out his entire shady past. Let's get into how Jim went from trashing Jay-Z to bowing down just to secure a deal.
Be able to say your name until they done something in the genre of music. I've done too much in this music to even happen.
We all know 50 Cent doesn't hold back when it comes to fake energy. And this time, he went straight for Jim Jones. After Jim disrespected Nas, 50 clapped back hard, calling Jim nothing but Jay-Z's lapdog. And now the whole internet is watching Jim's non-stop flip-flopping in real time. In case you missed it, Jim actually said, out loud, that he's better than Nas. Yep. He even clashed with Shannon Sharpe, talking crazy like he could outperform Nas in the booth. Fans were in shock.
I know I made a little boo-boo when you talk about the sales and all this type. I don't feel like getting into that rhetoric about where I started and where he started.
You said that.
But listen, Nas was nice when I was in high school. When I was in 10th grade, Nas came out. Nas was dope. We appreciate him. He had a little bit of run. But Nas always came up second to Jay and DMX and all these other people.
But lyrically, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you.
Yeah,
y'all
but look how you dress. Look how you dress. You don't even be in the same places I be in.
I can be in the church house. You can't help Nas lyrics. I don't know who told you that. Now look, I know you on that good stuff, but you're not seeing Nas. You're not seeing Nas, bro. Let's be real.
You got a bunch of 40 and 50-year-olds in their panties because I said I'm better than Nas.
It don't matter.
Look at you. I will run circles around Nas rapping right. I will run circles around Nas rapping right now. Right now, I will run Saturn around Nas right now rapping.
Jim really tried to come for a legend like that? Unreal. While rappers from all corners of the industry called him out for his wild comments about being better than Nas, Jim didn't back down. Nope, he doubled down. Even bragged that he made Nas relevant again, as if Nas wasn't already one of the greatest to ever do it since the Jay-Z battle days. The audacity. Just unbelievable.
Been talked about like this ever in his life.
Now, has Nas reached out to you?
You did. The last time he was in some this when people were comparing when him and Jay was beating.
And since Jim dragged Jay-Z's name into the drama, you already know 50 Cent couldn't just sit back. So what did he do? He pulled out a classic, dropped a throwback clip of Jim at Roc Nation headquarters, cheesing hard like a kid who just got a golden ticket. He was all smiles, grinning from ear to ear. And the caption? Pure 50 energy. He wrote, "Someone asked me if I have more enemies than friends. I thought about it and said, yes, poor me. I'm suffering from success. LOL. Classic flex. Now sure, some folks might call 50 petty. But nah, this one hits different when you know the real backstory between Jim and Jay-Z.
If I told you I was in the Roc Nation office, how would you feel about that? Huh? You think I was lying? That's clear enough for you? Talk to me. Let me know your sentiments. You heard?
Let's not forget, Jim spent 13 long years throwing heavy shots at Jay. We're talking diss tracks, public shade, even real street fights. That's not just petty beef, that's deep-rooted animosity. But when it suited him, Jim Jones made a full U-turn and literally begged for Jay-Z's stamp of approval. And that's what makes this whole thing so wild. Jim's recent shots at Nas? It's not just disrespectful, it's karma in action. Because now the entire internet is digging up his past receipts, putting his shady moves back under the spotlight for everyone to see. But hold up, how did Jim go from beefing with Jay-Z and even putting hands on one of his own execs, to begging Jay to sign him? Let's rewind the clock. It all started back in 2002, when Cameron and Jim Jones were brought into Rockefeller Records by Dame Dash. According to Jim, Cam had been promised a big title, Vice President at Rockefeller. That's a major move, right? But there was just one problem. Jay-Z never publicly confirmed it. Later that year, Cameron told a source, "I don't even know if I'ma take the role yet. Me and Dame are still talking about it. But I mean, I can have it. It's mine." Meanwhile, Jay-Z told the source something completely different. That's not taking effect as of yet. I think the talk is a little premature right now. So yeah, the tension. It was real from the very beginning. Then things escalated. Jay-Z jumped on a remix of Cameron and Joel Santana's hit Oh Boy. And what did he do? He used the track to take shots at Nas. But Cam and Jim weren't having any of that. They refused to release the remix and straight up cut Jay's entire verse. Later, Cam said he wasn't about to let Jay-Z hijack their song just to settle his beef.
Well, let's get right to it. There seems to be some drama. You and The Roc, Jay-Z, you try to diss. You did diss him.
I diss nobody.
You dissed him.
I diss Michael Jordan.
Oh man, we just
There's no drama, man.
No, we're gonna get to that.
Shouts to Dame Dash, who started Rockefeller Records, if y'all don't know. He's responsible for Rockefeller getting off the floor. That started in Harlem.
Cameron and Jim Jones felt like Jay-Z wasn't giving them the respect they deserved. And from that moment on, the sneak disses started flying from every angle. Jim began publicly calling out Jay during interviews and radio appearances, painting him as a corporate sellout who had completely lost his connection to the streets.
For you in the studio. Then he has something to Oh Boy.
This is Oh Boy already #1?
Yeah, it's popping.
Yeah,
I listened to it and I was like...
He pushed that image hard. Jim was determined to prove he was still cut from the street cloth, the real deal, but his actions were starting to tell a different story. Still, Jim and the whole Dipset squad kept their message loud and proud. Their whole vibe was raw, flamboyant, and untamed. Meanwhile, Jay-Z came off clean-cut, focused on business, and disconnected from that gritty street essence. Jim fully embraced that contrast, claiming the streets had outgrown Jay, left him in the past.
You already know this that
How on there, bro? Hold on, that's on this. See, middleman? Give me that. I'm on there. Jones. Ha Capo. Burning the streets up. Y'all know what it is, man. Purple Haze coming out. My dude Cam album coming out. Joel Santana, he's slated for September. You know what they call me, Geronimo Pratt. Dipset, the new Black Panther. Want no problems.
At first, Jay-Z kept it calm, didn't clap back directly. But everyone knew the tension inside Rockefeller was boiling over. It wasn't a secret anymore. Fast forward to 2006. Jim Jones drops We Fly High, and boom, the track explodes. That iconic ballin' hook became a full-blown pop culture moment. For the first time ever, Jim had a massive solo hit under his belt. And this time, Jay-Z couldn't just look the other way. So he responded with Brooklyn High, a remix over Jim's own beat. But don't get it twisted, this wasn't a friendly nod. It was straight up disrespect. Jay-Z went all in, mocking Jim's entire style, clowning his bars, and even mimicking his ad-libs in a way that was cold, calculated, and brutally dismissive. But Jim wasn't going to sit back and take it. He hit back with his own beef mix, flipped the beat again, and went directly for Jay's throat, calling him old, out of touch, and weak. Now it was personal. And this is where things took a wild turn, because it didn't stay on wax. In 2008, things got physical. Jim was caught on security footage inside a Louis Vuitton store, throwing hands. And who was the unlucky target? None other than Jay-Z's longtime A&R, Lenny Santiago. That's crazy. Jim ended up getting arrested and later pled guilty to misdemeanor assault. Jay-Z. He kept it cool in public. No tweets, no interviews. But behind the scenes, everyone got the message loud and clear. This beef had crossed the line. This wasn't just music anymore. This was war.
Jim Jones, the rapper, is going down. Jim Jones.
A few months later, Jay-Z sat down with XXL to talk about the direction of rap, and he couldn't resist firing one more shot. He specifically called out Jim's song Na 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 Na, blaming it for ruining the culture. Another jab, clean and calculated. Jay-Z said it straight. I mean, like Jim Jones, for example, and I don't say this just 'cause we don't see eye to eye, but he made Na 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 Na. What's the difference between that and Soulja Boy's Smiley Face? He even joked that Jim's track could have been called Smiley Face. Cold. Jay didn't need to lift a finger, just a few words and the shade hit hard. He wasn't in the streets anymore, but somehow, he still knew how to bury Jim with just a mic and a smirk. But after that, things quieted down. From 2010 to 2015, the beef turned cold. No more diss tracks, no public showdowns, just icy silence and quiet tension lurking behind the scenes. Until 2015, when Dipset decided to shake the table again. They dropped a freestyle over Diddy's legendary Victory beat. And in it, Cameron and Jim came swinging for Jay-Z and Roc Nation, taking jabs at the famous brunches and clowning them as soft, industry-made puppets. And yep, they even threw in a slick Beyoncé reference. Cam spit, having money don't make you a real one. You step on the court, you gon' play my game. Just take Shorty's advice, and say my name. They were clearly trying to bait Jay-Z into another round. But by then, Jay was living in a completely different universe. Billionaire status. Married to Beyoncé. Collecting rare art. Running Tidal. Building an empire in sports and tech. He wasn't wasting time clapping back at Jim and Cameron, not when they were yelling from the sidelines. And to drive that point home? A resurfaced clip showed Jay-Z comparing himself to Michael Jordan, saying Jim Jones was like the 8th guy riding the bench, yelling up at the MVP, hoping to get noticed.
But on the other end of it, it's like certain people shouldn't be able to say your names until they done something in the genre of music. I've done too much in this music to even have to answer that question. Like Jim Jones, who is Jim Jones? Like, he's not on anyone's top 10 list. He's no one's top 10 list, maybe not even his family. I was saying last night, it's like the 8th guy on the bench just screaming at Jordan, like, you a bum. Like, you want to be like the 9th guy on the bench.
It was a brutal comparison, but honestly, spot on. And that's when Jim finally had a moment of clarity. He was only making himself look bad by still going after Jay-Z. What he did next. That's exactly what 50 Cent is roasting him for right now. Jim did a complete 180, switched up his whole energy, and started begging Jay to sign him. And guess what? In February 2017, it actually happened. After 13 years of non-stop beef, Jim Jones officially inked a deal with Roc Nation. Can you believe that? Interview, 13/49/1408. And it wasn't like he kept it low-key either. Nope. Jim started flexing everywhere, bragging about how he got invited to Jay-Z's exclusive Roc Nation brunch. Yep, the same exact brunch he used to mock.
Nemesis turned collaborator Fat Joe signed to Rockefeller, and now it looks like another former rival who will rely on Ho's team to steer his career, as Dip says Jim Jones is allegedly heading over to Roc Nation. Capo posted a picture of bottles of Douce and Ace of Spades next to a Roc Nation letterhead on IG, and so...
Jim Jones flipped the entire narrative, suddenly praising Jay-Z in interviews, showing him massive love, and doing whatever he could to prove his loyalty. This is the same guy who once called Jay soft, accused him of abandoning the streets, and even laid hands on one of Jay's closest friends. And now, Jim was calling Jay-Z his role model. What a wild turnaround. But here's the kicker, Jay-Z didn't even give him much attention. No public welcome, no excited post celebrating the signing. Just one photo of Jay and Jim after the deal. And even in that picture, Jay looks like he'd rather be anywhere else. The energy was cold. Jim finally got a seat at the table. But Jay-Z made it clear, they were not equals, and they never would be. Jim was just another name in Roc Nation's giant folder of artists. And that's the craziest part, because from 2002 to 2017, Jim Jones built half his brand off the idea that he wasn't Jay-Z. But, in the end, he still chased that same seat beside him. Jim had built Dipset to be the anti-Roc Nation, the gritty, raw alternative to Jay's polished, corporate brand. But, at the end of the day, money talked louder than pride. And the image Jim spent more than a decade creating crumbled the second he needed that deal. Jay-Z didn't need to clap back with tracks or do messy interviews. He played it smart. He waited. And when Jim came crawling, ready to bow down, Jay signed the deal, and kept it moving. Not even a blink. Cold game. And that, right there. That's what 50 Cent is clowning Jim about. Jim spent years trashing Jay, only to end up begging for the exact same spot as everyone else. And look, most people might have just let it go. Time moves on, right? But Jim made a huge mistake. He disrespected Nas, a legend in the game. And with that one move, he gave 50 Cent the perfect excuse to dig up every old receipt and expose Jim's long trail of side-switching and fake loyalty. And those receipts? They hit hard. Now the streets are talking again. People are pulling up old interviews, old clips, old quotes, all showing just how many times Jim changed sides when it worked for him. 1 minute, he's yelling, "We the streets." The next, he's front row at Roc Nation brunches, grinning like he won the jackpot. You can't make this up. Even some of Jim's own fans are confused. How you gonna rep the streets, but chase a corporate cosign? And 50 Cent? Oh, he's loving it. Reposting old clips, laughing about how Jim went from calling Jay-Z soft to calling him an inspiration. And let's be honest, this whole Nas situation made it so much worse. Disrespecting someone like Nas? That's the kind of move the culture doesn't forgive. Especially when Nas never had to beg for anything. He stayed true to himself. And his legacy. It speaks louder than any deal, trend, or industry favor. So now Jim is stuck, trying to prove he's still got street credibility, while the internet keeps replaying every time he flipped sides. And the way it looks, that tough guy persona might be gone for good. The big question now, is this the end of Jim Jones? Can he recover from this and rebuild? Or are we witnessing the final chapter in his run? Only time will tell if Jim can clean up his image, or if this mess will follow him forever. But one thing's clear. When you play both sides for too long, eventually, nobody trusts you. And right now, with 50 Cent exposing the truth and the streets watching, Jim's next move better be the smartest one of his career. But what do you think? Is Jim Jones finished? Or does he still have one last trick up his sleeve? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more of the latest in hip-hop drama. Catch you on the next one.